Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unknown Comics Podcast. We are the three. The Warriors three. The Podcasters three. Ooh, I like it. It's the Unknown Podcasters three. So,
I'll let it be.
I'm not the leader. I'm just the button pusher. Let's say that. And the keeper on tracker.
What's
All right,
up,
guys.
Ace and Tella?
Hey, Santella. So yeah, I've already posted this in the chat, and you'll see this periodically. Our discussion topic for tonight is our top 3 television shows that ended after one season. So whether they were canceled, put on an indefinite hiatus, and that second season still hasn't come, or maybe it didn't even it was just
Planned.
It was just planned for one season and done. Any TV show or cartoon that was a multiple, like it was a series, wasn't a movie, right, or miniseries or whatever.
It had high hopes.
Yeah, and so we have our top 3, and we will do that at the end or the latter part of the show. So I've got all that. So yeah, hope everybody had a great week.
Can you make the topics over here?
Those aren't topics. That's just the list.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's our
Yeah,
list,
I don't want to spoil it for y'all. I'm surprising y'all.
Oh, that's the list.
Oh no, y'all know the list.
Yeah, we already know it.
I know the list.
Oh, I thought maybe it was our other.
No, I didn't do a
regular
topic
topics.
list. I just did the list. So that's how we're going to hit them.
Oh, okay.
Bottom to top.
I don't even know any of Tanner's lists, so that helps.
What?
Yeah, I knew one. I knew. No, I knew 2. I
Yeah.
knew 2 of his. I knew all of yours. Yeah. So anyway,
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. So yeah, hope everybody had a great week. We had some unfortunate news this week. Womp womp.
Are we talking about the actor?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were talking about the actor.
No.
Or,
Sorry.
Or Activision getting bought by Microsoft.
That's not unfortunate.
Oh,
I
some
don't
people think it is.
TBD. TBD on if that's unfortunate or not. I don't think it's. Let's say this. Okay. We don't talk about video games a lot, but that's fine. It's geek.
I mean, it's going to be a big deal going forward.
I think it's going to have pluses and it's going to have minuses.
Yeah.
It does good things for the industry. It does bad things for the industry. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, boom.
If you're a Sony stockholder, boom.
Right? Well, Microsoft's dipped too, but
Yeah,
they
not
also
as bad as Sony.
they also just did a major acquisition, and everybody,
Yeah.
your stock normally drops every time you do a major acquisition.
There's a whole
Yeah. Of course, everything's pending DOJ review, which they shouldn't antitrust it because they're even after doing, they're still only the 3rd largest video game producer
Yeah.
in the world, behind Tencent and Sony. Yeah, well, on Xbox, people have talked about that. I
don't think it means it's going to be exclusive.
I don't think. Well, no. So here's the thing with Xbox. Here's one good highlight with Xbox is exclusivity to them also includes PC gaming.
Yeah.
Right. Most Xbox exclusive titles also come to PC because
And it's been that way since the original Xbox.
a lot. There are, not to say there were Xbox exclusives that the original Halo took forever to get to PC.
Yeah.
And Halo 2 took not near as long, but it took longer.
But I think
to
those
get
are
to
the
PC.
reasons for that was because they wanted people to buy the
Yes.
Xbox.
Yeah.
Right. That was the reason.
So then, and Tanner and I were talking about this. I think what Microsoft's going to have to evaluate, and I don't think they're opposed to this, is breaking the model that our in-house games are going to be exclusive to our consoles. Because here's the thing you've got to weigh is, does driving console sales outweigh driving potential sales by going to another platform?
Well, and are they going to, just because they acquired them, are they still going to just keep the Blizzard name?
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean? In the
they'll
Activision
keep-
name instead of rebranding.
yeah, it depends.
I would keep them. I mean, they have years of, good name.
Yeah, I think, well, right now, Activision's name isn't good.
Yeah, but Blizzard, that's always going to be
Well,
something.
so right now, Activision Blizzard as a whole
Yeah.
has a huge black stain on it right now because of harassment issues, supposedly stemming from the top down. That's probably a lot of the reason Activision Blizzard started shopping themselves out.
To be done with it.
The board is trying to offload, get paid, and get rid of it. So that way Microsoft has it. It's their new company. They can restructure it, fix everything. So that way when all these claims come out of the woodworks, the board's already gotten paid. They're done.
Yeah.
and
they may have to deal with something, but it's not going to be a deal.
And Microsoft's just like, well, that was under their regime. We've changed everything.
Yeah.
You can't hold us liable. You're right. Even though when you transfer a company, all liabilities
Come to you.
as well.
Unless you put something in the contract.
And that involves civil suits.
Yeah.
And so you had to think Microsoft knew that going into it.
Yeah. they're gonna
Microsoft
do
can
the
also
research.
cover it. If they can
Yeah,
acquire
they
it
threw
for
like
$70 billion, they can.
Yeah, you throw an $8 billion down like, nah.
money is one thing, but the continued press of something is another thing.
I mean,
right?
if I had Microsoft money, I would just pay everybody off and drop the name and be done with it.
that may happen.
Or I mean, everything that Microsoft's gone through all the years, do you think they really care about bad press?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they care. It just depends on how they can spin it that it doesn't bring their entire brand down, right?
Mm-hmm.
That yes, we're dealing with it and we're paying these claims,
Yeah.
but we're not. Yes, we're liable to take care of it because we bought that company, but that wasn't under our leadership.
Yeah.
Right. I
Right.
mean, I would think you would want to, like, we're going to take care of this, but then we're going to dissolve that company and just
Right.
acquire
And
these creative
And
titles.
and really they anticipate Bobby Kotick, who's the CEO of Activision Blizzard. They have offered him his position as CEO to maintain his position and just report to Phil Spencer, who's the CEO of Xbox. More than likely, though, once everything's done and the ink's dry, the executive board of Activision Blizzard will probably step down.
Yeah.
It's. I honestly don't think it's so much they bought Activision as they bought Call of Duty.
Well,
And
yes,
whatever
you're
other
gonna
titles,
you're
you
gonna
know.
you bought their licenses, you bought their development studios. They're
Yep.
not, you know,
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right? Is like you're not just getting rid of all these people that are making these games. Those guys are going to come up. I mean, they're already making them. Why would you get rid of them?
you're buying Infinity Ward, you're buying Sledgehammer, you're buying Red Octane. You know, if you want to resurrect Guitar Hero or whatever.
So here's a question: are there still games that they make that are PC exclusive?
Well, there are PC exclusive games, yes.
From Activision.
From Activision, it would probably be more on the Blizzard side.
Yep.
It would World of Warcraft for sure.
That's the
is
biggest one I'm
the big one.
thinking.
But even though its popularity has dropped significantly in recent years,
But
so
what if they decide, okay, now this is Xbox too?
if they decide, I don't know that they'd want to put the money in porting it because its popularity is dipping.
Yeah.
I don't know
Unless
that
they
you.
came around with some big new
Yeah,
campaign
maybe.
or something.
And here's the thing: is I think they've tried MMORPGs like that before on console, and they just don't translate well.
Yeah.
Because you don't have like hotkey. There's those MMOs played differently on a PC. Now there are MMORPGs, but
Be interesting.
they're just different setups.
The way you can put different controllers into different things. It's interesting that you can't just connect a keyboard. Or
You can now.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
a Series X, or the new Series, and I think you could with Xbox One plug a mouse and keyboard. It depends on if the game supports it or not.
Okay.
That's the caveat.
Yeah.
The console now does. Let's see, I'm also sure they want Game Pass as an app you can download. I think you'll get to the point where you can play Game Pass on Roku. Exactly. I think this is I think for Microsoft, this play is to bolster Game Pass. That is their main revenue. It is, and as well it should be. It's the best value in gaming. If you have an Xbox or a PC and you're not a Game Pass member, and you have the time and you like just trying new games,
Yeah.
hands down, get Game Pass. I'd recommend it till I was blue in the face.
Yeah.
Because I've played games on Game Pass that I would never have paid. I would have never have bought.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. 25 million subscribers. Being asked, yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to lean into that, and each of those people are paying anywhere from $10 to $15 a month.
Yeah.
It just depends on.
And I don't think people realize how much more money video games make than movies.
Yeah.
I mean, you think every time a new video comes out, it's $60 a pop.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Now,
it stays that way forever.
and
And
it
then
also
you
it
get
does
the yearly, passes,
yeah.
all the new little things that come. I mean, they make so much money
Yeah.
off one video game.
and then the models are changing a lot. Like I will say this: Halo Infinite. If the campaign wasn't on Game Pass, I probably would not have bought it for $6. They're selling it for $60
yeah.
for just the campaign because the multiplayer is already free,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whether you have the game or not. I don't know that that was worth it. But they're going to add, like, because it was on Game Pass, sure, it's included. I'm ready to go. 7 million subscribers within the last year, just to Game Pass between Xbox and PC, and also cloud gaming. Game Pass Ultimate, which is the highest tier.
So you can play from anywhere, and it saves your
Yeah,
progress.
you can play on mobile and stuff. Well, no, you can actually play mobile, and you're streaming the game.
Yeah.
You're not downloading the game and using processing or whatever. Works okay-ish.
Yeah.
I would say of the streaming services I've tried between GeForce Now, or xCloud is kind of the colloquial term, and I never actually tried Stadia. Yes, I did. Wasn't crazy about it. GeForce Now is probably the best as far as experience goes, latency-wise. But yeah, Game Pass it's huge. Like, most of the games I play now have come off of Game Pass just because they're there.
Yeah.
I'm already paying a subscription thing. Might as well go. I mean, and then microtransactions on top of that, DLC, all this stuff.
So much money.
As far as them keeping exclusivity, they've already said Starfield, which is Bethesda, will be on PlayStation. We know for a fact Elder Scrolls will be on Xbox. They haven't come out and said it's exclusive yet, specifically.
But they haven't announced that it'll be on PlayStation either.
Exactly. And so it's still in limbo. I have to wonder.
We have to think, do we want to sell one console to this person every, 5 to 10 years-ish?
Yeah.
Or do we want to sell them a new game every year?
Yeah, I'm sure there's number crunchers that know that's the value discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what is your profit margin on the hardware? Because I've always been told their profit margin on hardware is teeny tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, like the first Xbox was a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even with like phones and stuff like that. I mean, that's a big reason why cell phone companies eventually stopped giving you phones for like $100.
So if
they're literally losing money on those like crazy.
So if I'm a publisher, yeah, it'd be great to make money off the console, but if my profit margin's that tiny, might as well just push it out to Sony and have all of their customers have access to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I like I said, they have the ledgers
Because
on it.
those Sony customers aren't going to have Game Pass, so they're going to be paying that $60 for the game.
And Microsoft may be making a play to say, hey, Sony,
Yeah.
well, you want to start supporting the Game Pass?
Well,
Yeah.
Sony has a version. It's just not as good.
They nixed it this week.
Oh, really?
Yep. PlayStation Now is gone.
Wow. Well, and I think it's probably because it wasn't very good. It was always older games.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Yep.
And that may be the place to. Maybe that's because they're about to roll something new out.
Possibly. Right.
Because I wouldn't see them getting rid of it. It's a subscription. People are paying it.
That or Sony's getting ready to
I mean, there's
announce,
money.
hey, Game Pass is on Sony.
Well,
Yeah.
and, Sony's one of the last, big production companies that doesn't have a movie streaming service either.
Yeah. Yeah, that they're still licensing out all their films to the different streaming services. I
Which
don't
is
know.
funny since they literally have.
They had one. They had one, but it was always just kind of weird.
Well, I mean-
Crackle was just.
Yeah, I thought Crackle was still around.
I think it's.
Maybe it just got nixed recently too.
It might have gotten nixed recently.
Yeah.
I remember for the longest time, Seinfeld was only on Crackle.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
the only place you could see it.
Yeah.
And they're adding it to PS Plus and adding tiers of membership, and that sounds like something they could do. But I thought they were actually bringing the streaming servers down, because PS Now was more cloud streaming oriented.
Yes.
So
You could download, but
but what PlayStation
more
did,
of-
PlayStation did like your weekly free game
yeah.
that you could just own as much as you can own anything that's digitally licensed through a digital store now.
Yeah, because I remember it was. I remember what year it was, but it was that year that Sony got hacked, and they hacked the PlayStation servers. And they gave everybody you got to go download 3 free games.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Centella played Halo on Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I probably would have bought the Halo campaign. I wouldn't have bought it for $60 though.
Yeah.
Just to own. Because here's the thing: it's never leaving Game Pass. There are games that come on and go off.
Yeah.
I will say that, but those aren't the Microsoft's first party stuff. just stays there.
It's probably some licenses. That
Oh
go
yeah,
on
yeah.
off.
That's Microsoft probably said, hey, why don't we host your game for this many months,
Yeah.
and maybe it'll translate because from an independent standpoint, I put my game on Game Pass. You like it.
Yep.
When I pull it off, because Microsoft does a big thing. Oh, this game's leaving soon. You need to buy it if you want to keep it.
Yeah.
And keep your progress without it, or going, because your alternative, if you're a PC gamer, is to go over to Steam, and a lot of times your progress does not
Translate.
Yep.
Just depends on the game, depends on the developer. Remember getting the PlayStation Magazine and the demo disc? I remember getting
Oh man, PlayStation Magazine was awesome.
Xbox, the official Xbox Magazine did the same thing. You'd get demos and stuff like that, or Xbox arcade games and stuff off the disc. And then PC Gamer used to have a demo disc, but a lot of PC game stuff, you just go download the demo anyway.
Yeah.
I did
demo server.
the PlayStation Magazine and Game Informer.
Oh, yeah, Game Informer, you just got thrown down your face every time you walked into GameStop.
Yeah.
Half the time,
You weren't leaving without Game Informer because they pushed it so hard.
anything you need now, used to, if you got stuck, you had to go on those books. Now you just YouTube it and it's there for free for like,
Yeah, game
you know
guides.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like you don't even need that stuff anymore.
Game guides are kind of the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, I always had Nintendo Power. I love that magazine.
Yeah.
I had it, and then it was Game Pro. Then it was Electronic Gaming Monthly, and then PC Gamer because I grew up enjoying the PC Master Race. So it's the more expensive console if you consider it that, but it does other things. Can't edit on an Xbox. So
So back to your other sad news. Sorry.
other sad news. So we have to. We were going to have Lou Ferrigno in store this weekend, and unfortunately, due to illness, that has been postponed.
Yep.
Not indefinitely. We have an idea.
Yeah.
We just don't know the date.
Yeah. We just
Indefinitely kind of sounds like we have no clue when this is happening.
Yeah,
we
we're
do.
going to let Lou kind of figure out what he's doing, and then
Yeah.
we'll announce a new date.
Because
Hopefully,
it probably also takes rescheduling other places or in the region that he was going to be.
yeah, he was going to be here and in Lubbock on Sunday, but I'm not sure.
He was going to Gold's Gym here too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was supposed to be at Gold's Gym tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then he was going to be on the sports radio tomorrow morning and the news channel tomorrow
Man.
as well. So,
His agent just got him booked everywhere, didn't he?
well, we helped with a lot of it.
Oh, gotcha.
Gold's Gym's the only thing we didn't help with.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, yeah, but all that can be done again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
And so we wish
it's
him well.
just an unfortunate event.
Yeah, we wish him well and hope he gets better quickly. But we will see him. It just won't be when we thought it will be. So there were news this week. So we haven't actually seen him yet because the series has not premiered. But one of the actors in Moon Knight died already.
Yeah. So there's questions: will they reshoot? Will they leave it alone? How
Yeah.
big of a role did he actually have?
Exactly. So he's a French actor.
He's-
Wow. Gerard something in French. I don't remember his last name.
yeah,
He's like a model actor. He's like in perfume commercials.
yeah.
That's where I recognized him from. He was also in.
He was in something recently. I feel like
I don't know. French people all look the same.
if you're from France, sorry, or Louisiana.
It's fine.
Or you are Quebecois. Sorry, Celine Dion. Don't go skiing. Don't go skiing without a helmet.
In the Alps.
Don't go skiing without a helmet, and know your limits.
Yeah.
I've skied all my life. Like literally, I've never.
Well, they said this was like, I guess where he got hit was been an issue here lately.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
A lot more incidents are happening in this area that haven't normally happened. Something to do with the way the ice and stuff
Yeah.
is right now.
Don't ski on groomed trails. Wear a helmet.
Yep.
Watch your speed. Be smart.
Yep. And it sucks that it happened. It's a sad thing. Again,
Yeah.
we'll see. Because I mean, they just literally showed the Moon Knight trailer, and was there a date?
Yes, March 30th.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it actually had.
It's March for sure, which is a lot quicker than I thought it was coming.
I would think it was going to be a week or two between Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So
It's supposed to be 6 episodes, and if you do 6 weeks, it leads up to the week of Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3. Yep.
But I've heard people thinking that they're gonna do 2 episodes, and that way they can release Obi-Wan on the weekend of May 4th.
okay. So here's what I liked about the teaser trailer.
It would be May 4th, literally. It would come out on May 4th because it's a Wednesday.
Yeah. Here's what I like. Here's what I like about the teaser trailer. It didn't focus on his Mark Spector alter.
No,
It was a Steven alter, which is so it's
he's like, why would you call me Mark?
yeah,
Yeah.
which is I guess technically is his main
Yeah.
alter, right?
Yeah.
So the beginning of the story is going to pick up that he doesn't have a clue who Mark Spector is.
It looks like it's going to be kind of one of those start from the beginning. I mean, start at the end, and we'll get the beginning kind of ways of going about it.
It's going to happen to media res and try to figure out why he doesn't. He has his kind of amnesiac moments or whatever. I'm sure it's going to be told in like flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah. It looks good though.
Or maybe MCU Mark Spector is not the main alter.
Yeah, it's possible as well.
I
think it's interesting that the costume I'm a little indifferent about.
It definitely looks mummy-ish, right?
Which it should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
It should. I mean, it's not as clean as you see it in
But
the comics.
yeah.
I guess maybe that's what they're going for. But yeah, it definitely looks like it's wraps. For
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it translates better for live action because it adds texture. It's not just white spandex.
Well, and like he's not always just going to be like a occluded face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? You're just not always going to have him be black face with white eyes, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to look realistic just to have that void there unless there's a reason that there's a void.
Yeah.
Surprised it's not coming out. It's coming out before Ms. Marvel. I thought that was the closest to be finished. I agree with you.
Yeah, that was. I think it was.
It was because it
at
was
some point
announced
supposed to be the
before.
other way around.
Yeah.
In the Whatnot show, I looked up the Vampirella movie. It was announced last year, but there's nothing else that's been announced since then. Oh, yeah, I looked it up during the show.
Oh yeah, it was.
Saw no other goodies.
It was Thirsty Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Thirsty Thursday. Thirsty Thursday went well today. Jason Tella was on there.
We've got plenty of it.
Yeah. I had to, every time I put on a naughty book, I was like, all right, if you want censorship, close your own eyes because it's coming.
So did you sell a lot of Kincaid stuff too?
Some of the Kincaid
Okay.
and Zerdy stuff, yeah.
That's
I was like, that's the only place I can sell this stuff, guys.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty much.
yeah.
It's a fun platform, guys. If you haven't joined us on Whatnot yet, we definitely recommend. Even if you don't buy anything, it's still kind of a fun show. Not nearly as discussion heavy as like our Twitch shows.
Yeah.
Just because the freneticness of it, but it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a good amount of, I mean, we usually have 60 to 70 people watching every time. So there's a good amount of people talking.
Like when we had Kreese last week, we had some decent kind of discussion going and Q&A with them and stuff like that, even though that's not what that platform's for, but it
happens.
You gotta fill
It
time.
definitely makes it go faster. Makes it seem like that way.
someone even asked Playboy.
Yeah, somebody asked me for like a 1994 Playboy. I was like, nope, don't have any of those.
Sure, there's a market for it, but it ain't here.
Yeah.
Star Wars Insider Max says Bad Batch Season 2 in the spring as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured that they're going to eventually, there's just too much coming that they're going to start overlapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do hope when they overlap, they come out on multiple days.
I don't know. Like they drop every new Disney show right now
On Wednesdays. Which I wonder what changed that they went from Friday to Wednesday.
They wanted it to come out at the same day as their comics.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean,
It makes sense for the Marvel stuff, but not necessarily for
but
the Star Wars
everything
stuff.
else drops on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So
Tuesdays is always the drop for everything.
and maybe they just knew like, okay, we know we're going to have. We don't want anything competing with movies Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what it is. So like they can get this out of the way, and then the weekend they got the movies.
Yeah.
So there's nothing competing with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I said, it doesn't. That wouldn't. That. Or maybe they excuse me. Maybe Mandalorian season 1, like showed them. Oh crap, not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's getting into our movies because that dropped before pandemic, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yes.
Season 1 did, I think.
Yeah. I think it was 19, right?
It's been so. It feels like it's ages ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember what life was like before we had a virus? I don't. Loki's premiere blew up. That's why. Maybe. Was Loki? No, because
Boba Fett, I mean,
Falcon
Mandalorian-
Winter Soldier was on Wednesdays too, wasn't it? Or was it Fridays?
I can't remember which the first. I think
I
Mando
think it
season
was-
2 was the first thing that went to Wednesdays, right?
Huh? Amanda?
I thought season 2 was the first thing.
Crap, I don't know.
No,
I can't remember now.
It was. I think Loki was the first thing that went to Wednesday
Yeah, it
because we
was.
watched Falcon
Loki
Winter Soldier on Fridays at
Yeah.
lunch.
Lunch.
Loki
That's
was
right.
the first thing that went to Wednesdays.
Okay.
Yep.
And then they kept I think they kept Bad Batch on Fridays because that's how that show started. I don't remember if they moved it or not because it would have been
Yeah,
mid-season.
because we were always talking about it the next week as well.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. No,
Yeah.
I don't remember nothing. I just live here.
So speaking of Star Wars.
Speaking of Star Wars, Chris and I watched Boba Fett.
Yeah, we did.
Guess who still hasn't watched episode 3?
It's fine.
Guess what they didn't call Boba Fett's ship?
Yeah, well, we knew that was coming.
Yeah. It's just the fire spray. Yeah. Here's the okay. All right, here we go. It's never been called Slave One in any Star
hasn't.
Wars
It
film
hasn't.
ever.
No, it hasn't.
So it's like, it's splitting hairs. It's just like, come on, people. It's the same ship.
They came up with the name because they had to have something to call the toy.
Yeah, and honestly, the name never made any sense. He was a bounty hunter. It's like it'd be different if it was like a Trandoshan.
He was a
slave ship.
bounty hunter, but he stole it from slavers.
I will say in this last episode, they sure
At
made
least-
those Trandoshans seem like they weren't nothing.
Yeah,
At least Boba did.
It's like Trandoshans are supposed to be
Right.
pretty nasty.
Boba stole it, but then I think they had to retcon that.
they retconned it because
so
Django,
that
had
Django
it.
could have
Yeah.
it.
So we're gonna get into it. Tanner, sorry about you. You can leave if you need to.
It's fine. I don't care.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Come back. If you're watching on YouTube, well, we're going to talk about Boba
Spoilers.
Fett. Just come back after you've watched Boba Fett. If you're listening
Last
or
chance.
watching, spoilers. Centella, be nasty. Have y'all watched the Boba? Say you've watched the Boba.
If you haven't. If you have.
Here we go. I'm enjoying it. Like people,
I liked this episode.
people have complained about the pace of it. I didn't like the chase last week.
That was the only thing I really had a big issue with.
Yeah.
This week I didn't have any of those issues.
No, this week it's finally bridging the gap. Right, it's closing the gap between his flashbacks and where we found him in the Mandalorian.
And they're also trying to slowly tell you that this happened over years.
Yeah, that's like I will say that never up until he said that he had been with the Tuscans for years. He had gotten out of the Sarlacc pit years ago.
Yeah.
Like you're like, how the hell was I supposed to know that any of that
the
time
only
had
way you
passed?
would have known is because he said something.
Yeah, the chicken droid is the highlight for me. Is that the
Well-
the rat?
Oh, the one that
rat
turned itself off.
yeah, the rat catcher droid.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was the rat catcher droid. Oh, that's hilarious.
I would have figured he would have had to been with the Tuscans for years anyway, just from when the time from him falling into the Sarlacc to the
And-
time that Mando takes
Yeah,
place.
but like
But I mean, I think you think, yeah, there's some time there, but years.
There maybe you do different markers like that kid Tuscan
I've gotten bigger.
gets grows or something, and so that kind of gives you the perception, and maybe that's it. Is there's just no good way things don't change on
Except for
Tatooine
just
quickly.
calling it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So now it's, but I guess what's cool about that is now at this point, if the show continues, they can go back to a bunch of different points and tell different stories.
Yeah.
Different things that happened while he was with the Tuscans or
Yeah.
after they got
They're,
killed.
they're
or
still
whatever.
leaving that availability
Yeah.
way open. Because this episode, he finds Finnick right at the beginning,
right after she got shot in the tum tum.
and it kind of goes through how
How
he
he
takes
saved
her to get her all fixed up and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, and he kind of pretty much endears himself to her, and he essentially hires her to help get the fire spray back, because Bib Fortuna has Jabba's palace just on lockdown.
Yeah.
But she decides to stick with him even afterwards, because after he gets the fire spray back, I'm going to accidentally call it Slave One, the fire spray back, he goes to settle some vendettas, and then which he does pretty quickly.
I think we'll come to find out that it wasn't them at all, and it was the Pikes.
And
They just painted the logo of the bikers.
yeah, they're setting him up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to just say that they were just hired to do so for
Yeah.
the Pikes. I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
If the Pikes are paying good money at their biker gang, they're just going to kill anything. But he goes after the biker gang that killed the Tuscans, and then he goes after the Sarlacc. He's trying to get his armor back.
He's trying to
he
get his
thinks
armor back.
He thinks his armor's still in there because he doesn't realize the Jawas
Stole it.
stole it. I think they're done with flashbacks because the droid said he was fully healed. Maybe, but that doesn't mean they can't go
Well,
back.
right after the droid said that, she comes in the room and says, "What about all the ones on the inside?
Yeah.
All the scars." So I don't think so. I think we're almost there.
Yeah.
But most of this episode did stay in the past.
The back to tank was kind of that transition to get to the flashback, but he could just be asleep and they could fade into the
Yeah.
Or
Or you may like the back to tank and just get in it.
right. It's comforting. So what did Harrison Ford film for? Was it Obi-Wan? No, he shot.
He shot something for Mando, didn't he? I think he shot something for Mando.
Yeah, possibly, or that, or they're
Something with
that,
Ben.
or he did. Maybe he's a cameo in the last episode of Boba Fett, and they're de-aged him or something.
Yeah, it's possible. Or like I said, something with Mando, and we're getting to the point where we're going to see young,
Okay,
Ben or something like that.
So hold on. I actually now that I'm kind of putting it in my head, yes, we did have an idea of how long because we know when he goes in the Sarlacc pit, and we know where Mandalorian was.
See, that's what I was
in
saying.
relation to. So we know it's some years later. No spam risk. You are not talking to me right now. Yeah, has to be more flashback for him to get a suit. Well, he got his. We know how he gets a suit back. We saw that in the Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, I think that they maybe they'll show us a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think there's a reason to rehash the whole thing.
And so, pretty much after the flashback and kind of, you see a little bit more of what the final scene at the end of Mandalorian was, right? You see him go into Jabba's palace and just sit on the throne, and that was the setup for Book of Boba Fett. You see him kill Bib Fortuna.
And
It's
still
kind of like a just little montage.
yeah, it's still like a flashback thing.
Yeah.
You still haven't seen like the full him taking the palace.
Bib Fortuna needed to lay off the donuts.
Yeah, Bib Fortuna was
He
trying
could
to
look a
become
little bit like Jabba.
He getting there.
and then you see him having a conference with all the leaders of Tatooine.
Yeah,
in present time.
And so he's basically kind of, the other crime families. Hey, the Pikes are coming. It's in our best interest to band together. And they're kind of like, yeah, we'll stay out of your way.
And he's not just creating. He's not just trying to take over as the Daimo or whatever. He's trying to create a whole new crime family.
Pulling a Don Corleone.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. And trying to do what Jabba did a little bit and kind of be over everything. But at the main point, just getting the Pikes off of Tatooine.
Yeah.
That's kind of his main MO. Kreezard is raiding with a party of 60.
Hey,
Kreez.
thanks, Kreez.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for raiding us.
Hey, Walt.
Sounds like you need to finish the Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah. You should catch up.
I would definitely say that the Mandalorian is kind of a precursor for the Book of Boba Fett.
What do we delete? I want to know.
Oh, Nightbot got him for spamming emotes. Apparently I still have that on, and actually, because emote spamming drives me nuts.
Hey, thanks for joining, Kreez.
Yeah, our buddy.
There's with Drew.
Hey, bud. Let's see here. This is the first episode that ended on a tease that I'm looking forward to. So yeah,
We're talking about, for anybody coming in, spoiler, we're talking about the newest episode of Boba Fett.
yeah. So we hope you've seen Boba Fett.
Yeah, if you haven't,
We're
in it.
we are doing well, Kreez. Thank you so much for joining in. Yeah, we are talking Boba Fett. So thank you for coming, everybody. Like I said, if you he said, oh, all right, I'll see you later. He's out. He hasn't seen it yet.
Spoiler.
If you come back in like 5 minutes,
We'll have something else.
We'll be talking about our discussion topic tonight, which is our top 3 one-season television shows.
Sci-fi, right?
Sci-fi or geek.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Nerd 'em.
Yeah, cartoons, stuff like that. We'll be talking about that here in a little bit. And then, so at the very end, he goes into. Oh, he's actually got to run, which that makes sense. He's already been streaming, so he's probably tired.
Yeah. Have a good night.
See you, Kreez. So he goes back to this lush cantina that he keeps going back to.
Yep.
Maybe he's gonna get a thing with that one Twi'lek.
Maybe. There's something there.
Yeah. And Chrysanthemum is kind of in the booth, just getting
He's drunk.
drinking his sorrows.
Yeah.
And a bunch
Man,
of
that'd be scary, a drunk Wookiee.
It
Oh,
was.
hold on.
It was.
Hold on. So there's a bunch of Trandoshans gambling, and they're
winning
they're
and celebrating.
They're celebrating, having a good old time, and Chrysanthemum ain't having it. And
I feel like the Trandoshans are just too small. I feel like they should be
Yeah.
bigger, stature-wise,
And-
or at least bulk-wise.
now Legends lore, they do shady things to kidnap Wookiees and slave them and stuff like that. They don't do it just by brute force.
Yeah, they're slavers in general.
Yeah.
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 They
Yeah, they were never really because you fight a lot of them in Republic Commando. There's
Yeah.
a whole section of the game
yeah,
where
when you're in
fighting.
Kashyyyk, yeah. Yeah, so they were always just kind of wieners to start with.
Yeah.
And Chrysanthemum's a gladiator, so
Yeah. And I think he was having, again, kind of like she was telling him, some Glory Day flashbacks of,
yeah.
I should be the one you guys are celebrating, kind of
Yeah.
a deal right then.
Yeah. Chris Hansen from what? Hold on. Oh, I hear it now. Chrysanthemum. Chris Hansen.
I got you.
Yeah. No, this is a Wookiee, not somebody.
This is new Baka.
This is not somebody trying to bait child predators. So,
Maybe he should get into that
He would
business.
destroy child predators.
he would rip their arms out of their socket, which you finally get to see a Wookiee rip somebody's arm out of its socket.
He literally rips it off and throws it to the side.
Like, so the bar owner's trying to reason with him not to start a huge fight, and he kind of like halfway doesn't. And remember, the one Trandoshan gave Boba that Wookiee pelt in the first episode too. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was the first time he goes in that bar. Yeah. So
So he may have some, may already have some other built-up anger that we haven't seen.
And
yet.
in Legends canon, his old armor, he had a Wookiee braid around, but I don't know that that's canon anymore. What that actually was or what it meant. But anyway,
So you see him go through, get this speech from the bar owner about trying to calm him down, and then he just rips the Trandoshan's arm off and then pays his bill. Like
he's like,
I got
well, she makes a
this.
deal like if you just chill out right now, I'll take care of your tab. And he's like, nah. He rips Transition arm off and pays
Yeah.
it. So then of course Boba approaches him. Hey, you want a job?
yeah. But before he leaves the bar, Boba looks at her and he's like, well, you tried.
And so then they have the meeting of the crime families,
and
and
you see Chrysanthemum's there.
yeah, and Chrysanthemum's
He's
part
working
of the
for
country,
Boba now.
which we knew that was coming. Like they totally set that up that he was going to be a part of it, and basically Boba and Fennec are talking. A war is about to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, I need more muscle, and then you hear the Mandalorian's theme song play. So there's probably a good chance we'll see Din Djarin.
Either those guys or a whole
Any
lot
of the
a lot
Mandalorians.
Yeah. I mean, there's
He's the king of Mandalorians now. He could bring them all.
They don't see it that way. Mandalorians don't see
What?
Boba Fett as a real.
No, not Boba Fett. Din.
Yeah.
He has the dark saber.
That's true.
yeah.
Which I mean,
And they've already talked about having her have her own show.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Really?
I've seen rumors of her getting her own show as well, spinning off of Ahsoka.
Oh yeah.
So
Shit, sky's the limit.
yeah,
These
and
television
I think
shows are
some of
going-
this stuff might just be that they're one season kind of things that kind of wrap back in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
how I
mean?
think they're going to play it because they've already said that Mando 3 might not be titled that,
Yeah.
and that's
but
fine.
it's going to be a direct. It's going to be a continuation of that
yeah,
story.
I think Mandalorian would probably turn into like the universe name, whatever, like Avengers.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Be nasty. I hope Cad Bane soon. We don't know where he is.
Yeah.
He's somewhere. I mean,
I think we'll get live action. That, of course, a lot of people are saying Afra's probably going to be showing up in the TV shows at some
yeah.
point.
If we've seen Chrysanthemum, there's a
Yeah.
good chance we're going to see Afra because and she's a super popular
Well, and
comic
I think
character.
part of that comes the very big first episode. They're talking about needing a protocol droid.
Oh, 000
yeah.
and BT. That would be hilarious to see 000 and BT.
Yeah.
Filoni is drafting 6, so he would expect some Clone Wars character. Yeah, possibly. Seeing older clones.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm fine with this is the show, and every season we just focus on something different and give it a different name. They don't like. We're already seeing that they don't have to follow the same models
That's
that
traditional
we've seen for
television.
broadcast television, where you renew, you have a season, you renew a season. You have a season, you renew a season. it's the sky's the limit. They can tell the story whatever way they want, and they can do a very cinematic story, spread it out over a bunch of episodes so the story doesn't feel rushed. But now, if you decide not to commit to, oh, we're gonna do this many seasons until the story, you don't feel like the story has overstayed its welcome either.
And then you cut out the filler episodes and all that jazz.
You just do what's pertinent
for
to
the
the
cartoon. But I think also your actors, like they're willing and wanting.
yeah.
So they're not going to just walk away from the projects.
Because here's the thing,
having a good time making this.
they're
stuff.
probably getting a feature film type salary,
Probably.
maybe a little bit more.
Yep.
And they're probably just signing their contract for that one thing, and they may or may not get an offer for a second season. Whereas television, you would sign your big stars up for 6 season runs, and you may not even make it, but you're still paying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think it's a good model. I think it's working.
And it's coming out quicker than
And Disney-
other streaming series stuff.
Yeah, and Disney Plus is not Netflix.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're not just canning things for no reason.
I mean, unless you're Stranger Things, Netflix just nukes you.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, these kids are like 50 now, and they're still making Stranger Things.
Did I read right that Lucas is doing his 7, 8, and 9? I highly doubt that. I'd have to see some more press on that. I haven't seen anything
I
about
haven't
Lucas
seen anything
ever
about
coming
that.
back. He's 75 years old.
Yeah.
He's got his money and he's done.
Yeah, I don't think he ever meant for the story to be as big as it is. He meant to make some movies for kids, and make some money. He had the foresight to get merchandising rights. How he ever thought to do that? Because that had never been done before. Anyway, okay, spoilers over.
Yep.
Boba Fett's good. Episode 5 next week, and then 6, and then we're done. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go to ads real quick, and when we come back, we will be going over our discussion topic, which is our top 3 one-season TV shows, whether they were canceled, whether they were meant to run a season, or they're just on indefinite hiatus. What are your top 3 television series? Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. Let us know, and we will be back in about a minute or so. All right, we are back. Thank you for sticking with us. As I said, discussion topic is our top 3
Me and Tanner aren't moving,
one-season television shows. So we've compiled our list, and believe it or not, of our 3 list of 3 shows, there was only one show that crossed over 2 lists.
Yeah. And Brandon sent me a list of like a million shows, and I had barely seen any of them.
What we found out is Chris only watches a show once it's made it past its first season.
I almost never catch anything live. I just can't. So I usually if it's like one season, that's not worth my time.
I will say most of my list, are from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They're cartoons from when I was a kid. But anyway, so we'll get down to it. So let's see. Walt says Firefly, Battlestar Galactica, which I did not realize until I was researching that the original Battlestar Galactica was only one season.
Yeah, that was on all the lists.
As successful as the remake was,
Yeah.
that it was. Now they did. There's an asterisk to that because I believe they did a reboot in 1980 that was called Battlestar 1980 or Galactica 1980.
It was
or
like
something.
supposed to be a continuation.
Yeah, it was going to be like Star Trek Phase 2, right? That never happened.
No, that was 2 seasons as well. Dang it.
So Chris
I almost had one.
Chris had a favorite show that he felt got canceled too soon.
There's 2 of them now because the other one's another Star whatever. But
was Stargate
I
Universe.
feel like yours and I both almost count as that as well because they had a movie to kind of at least wrap it up.
It did. Well,
So-
so we're burying the lead.
We'll get there.
So we'll start with Tanner's number 3, which was the Mystic Knights of Terra Nova.
Yeah, it just sounds like eggnog. Tell me about this.
Medieval.
You probably remember it. You just don't realize you remember.
It was medieval Power Rangers.
Nope.
There was 3 of them.
I remember it. And I was 17
Yeah,
years old.
it takes place in medieval Ireland, and there's this evil witch, and there were these 3. I don't even remember if they were teenagers like the other Power Rangers, but
Were they teenagers with attitude?
they were medieval attitude.
I literally have no idea. If you know, throw it up there. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I had a.
It's as
really,
bad as you think it would be.
I'm gonna look up some photos while we're talking about some of this stuff.
I had a really hard time choosing as well because I'm kind of like Chris. I don't watch a lot of TV,
Yeah.
and the TV that I do watch is I call it my comfort shows.
Yeah.
And so, like, I rarely watch anything other than Futurama, King of the Hill, and Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, Google. Oh, okay.
but
Nope.
yeah, I remembered this show. This show is like my favorite show as a kid, and I think I was a first grader when it was on TV. So I don't remember much about the show other than that.
It was for those that don't know, it was part of Saban Entertainment produced it. Same
I was
people
like-
that did Power Rangers.
Now is this something that's? No, I guess it didn't. It canceled, right? So they didn't have anything going on.
Yeah.
1998.
Yeah, I would have been a second grader, I think.
I was a junior in high school. So
I remember I had one action
that was
figure.
past my time, and I didn't really care for Power Rangers to start with. So like something that's in that vein, trying to capitalize.
Power
on-
Rangers for me came out when I was 5.
Golly, y'all are-
So that was like, I wouldn't watched it before school started because it was in the morning.
I don't ever remember it being in the morning.
I remember being in the afternoons. Power Rangers.
It was like reruns or something, I guess. in the
I'm
morning
sure.
that I
I'm sure.
watched.
Well, you typically your net like Fox had its morning kid show
Yeah.
block and its afternoon kid show block, and then it had its Saturday block, right?
Yeah.
Back when Saturday morning cartoons were a thing, they aren't anymore. Like
Yeah,
there's
they
nothing-
were all through my childhood.
like, but
Now you get
Also-
up and it's just infomercials. I'm like, what the crap is
Yeah.
this?
well, and I think the problem a lot of that was
Now you just have the
you had Disney Channel that came off a paid subscription.
Yep.
You had Cartoon Network that came out.
Yep.
You know, so you had ways to get that
Yeah.
that weren't, because cable was becoming more
Only
prevalent.
that,
in
but
the home.
like a lot of the cable shows were picking up the stuff that
Yeah.
the Saturday morning cartoons were, like Ninja Turtles. That went to
I
Nickelodeon,
remember,
whatever it was.
I remember a big thing every February and September was watching the Saturday morning cartoon preview shows that would come out.
Yeah.
And what they
Yeah.
would do, they would just spell out what the next season, the next couple months of Saturday morning cartoons, what was going to be on the roster and whether they made it or not. That was always exciting for me. So Chris's number 3 was actually I enjoyed it quite a bit too.
And I watched all of it, and it just, I don't even know if it actually went a full season. I have no idea. I feel like I watched quite a bit of
I think
this.
it got killed at mid-season.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like almost human
Almost Human. So it had
with
Carl
Carl Urban.
Urban and I can't remember the other guy's
And
name.
it's a little bit, it's more futuristic, even though they still
was-
kind of drove around modern
It was
day vehicles.
It was kind of cyberpunky. It was near future.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, you had androids and cybercrime.
And maybe that's
stuff
why
like
I feel like I didn't watch the whole first season, because I do think it was canceled before it even
Yeah.
got all the way through.
Yeah, no, it did. It did not make it its full season.
Because I felt like I
Now,
was watching it.
There's a lot of times where they don't make it the full season, but like when they do home release, like DVDs and streaming,
They do show the rest of
the rest of the shows do get on there. I thought it was good. I like cyberpunk type stuff.
Yeah.
That kind of science fiction, and that really, for the first time on television, that
Kind of gave you that.
yeah, that got that. It wasn't like kind of the gritty cyberpunk. It was a
No.
cleaner, but it was still cool. It was a buddy cop.
In a way, it was still, I mean, you had Carl Urban as Dredd, like, after that?
Probably right around the same time.
But
if I had to guess.
it was like basically a TV version of what Dredd would be.
But it was like Law and Order in the future.
Yeah.
Because it was a procedural crime. They
Yeah.
were buddy cops, right? And solving crimes and stuff. So, like every other CBS television show.
Yeah, but I think it was on Fox, right?
It was on Fox,
Yeah. Yeah, so that was 3, and like I said, he sent me because he wouldn't let me use my other ones because we'll talk about them after we get through our list, but
We're still
wouldn't
going to
let me-
talk about
he
them.
wouldn't let me use them because they went 2 seasons, and I was like, well, that sucks. I even sent him a gift and said, that's too damn bad. Like I'm using it.
The whole shtick was the game was top 3 one season shows. So my number 3 was Battletech, the animated series. Of course, based on the board game, which I'd already been playing since middle school.
And still are in love with.
I still love it. I still love Battletech. I love the lore and stuff. Now, since then, the cartoon. So it was on.
I'm gonna pull up some BattleTech images.
Yeah,
from the TV show.
it was not great. Let's say that. For me as a kid, I'm like,
This
oh,
is a cartoon, right?
yes, it was animated. It had CG for like the mechs and stuff. That was all done in 3D. When the mechs would fight and everything, and it did take place in the BattleTech storyline that I was familiar with. Now, what they've since done is said, "Oh, that's not canon." What that is like a fictional retelling of canonical events that happened in the BattleTech world.
So this came out in 1994.
I was 13.
1994. I was 8.
Tanner?
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about right.
We little baby Tanner.
But it was cool. It was cool for the
What
first.
did this come on? I don't even remember this.
It was Fox Saturday mornings,
Okay.
early.
Yeah.
I remember it was hard for me to watch it because it came on at literally 6 a.m. here in Amarillo.
Holy goodness.
And like I would,
that's why I'd never seen it.
I would wake up. I had a TV in my room. I would wake up, turn it on, and if I could stay awake through it, and so I'd go back and I'd record it, and I'd go back and watch it later, on a VCR. But it was like I said, it was fun seeing.
Like,
it.
what's a VCR?
Yeah, it was fun seeing because it was one of my first games that had my first tabletop games that had a huge lore element behind it,
Yep.
right? So finally seeing that done in kind of mainstream, even though it really wasn't, nobody was really watching it because it got canceled.
Do you think it's because things like, and I know G.I. Joe was mostly 80s, right? But
Yeah,
probably 'cause it aired at 6 in the
Transformers, things like that just kind of overshadowed it. Still, like it just was no way it was going to make it into the market.
I think it was probably too. I think it relied too much on people that understood the universe,
Yeah, it's probably too dense.
Yeah,
and so there was just a lot of weird stuff that you just
it'd be like
out
just throwing Games Workshop to the masses with nobody knowing.
out of context, you'd just be seeing stuff and not understanding what the hell's really going on.
Yeah.
Other than seeing really cool 3D robots, blowing each other up. But you got to think early 90s, we've already seen Robotech, we've already seen Voltron,
Yeah.
we've already seen Transformers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there's just so much of it already on the market.
So
where does this fit in?
And these are like slow, lumbering. It's not like Gundam and stuff like that, which, early 90s, all that stuff was starting to come over where it's, super agile, slushy, speedy robots. It was more, they're walking tanks, right? And then you had Exo Squad at the same time that was kind of doing the same thing, only better.
Yeah.
It was telling a better story that was better for live action. So that's our third pick. So Tanner's second pick
Oh yeah, I gotta keep. I don't know any of Tanner's stuff.
is an anime.
It's an anime. It was called Desert Punk, and it's kind of it's Mad Max with anime type humor.
So yeah,
Yeah, they're in a desert. He's a mercenary. He's supposed to be like the best hired gun in this area, but
so like Dragon.
So this is 2004.
yeah, ish.
Yeah.
He's always
Post-apocalyptic Japan.
he's always trying to get the biggest payout, but something very anime, humory, ridiculous happens to foil his plan.
Damn, no.
Did you have?
I totally just had an epiphany of a one seasoner. I'll have to bring it up later. That probably should be in my top three. I should probably kick my two down.
This is I had 24 episodes for one season. I
Yeah,
guess
well,
that's what a lot
is
of
it-
animated stuff did.
Yeah.
No, 24 for one season isn't much for 30
Now,
minutes.
I went ahead and just left this there since that's what I gave you. But after we talked later, and I understood the rules of your
Like it was.
Tanner and I got yelled at, guys, a lot.
It was
today.
not that
There was
hard.
cats
so
used.
I understood it as something that either was canceled or left with some sort of cliffhanger.
Oh, sorry.
Not a complete like
season
one and
thing.
done. If it a complete one and done, I would replace this with another anime called Gungrave.
I've heard of that.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've never watched it.
It's
but I
like
heard
it's a mafia story meets mad scientist.
nice.
It's really good. But yeah,
All right, Chris, your number two was Terra Nova.
Terra Nova. So again, this was hard for me
This
because
is Fox, and this
is-
wasn't
this is
terribly
Fox.
long after Firefly, right?
it was after Avatar, so it was it was
but
quite
that
a ways later.
That was all kind of like bam, bam, bam in the mid 2000s,
Yeah.
right?
So so this is it's a little bit. I think actually we're getting pretty close to when they
Tell
went
us
to the
this
past.
Desert Punk is sold out on Amazon. I guess I'm assuming for like DVDs,
I don't know. I have
maybe manga. There was manga of it, I think.
There probably was.
Yeah.
So Terra Nova is a little bit more in the future. Basically, the world's ending. Blah blah blah. They go into the past,
Like it does.
prehistoric times, right? It was pretty good though. It had good cast. I watched.
Had Stephen Lang from
Stephen
Avatar.
Lang was in there. Basically, it's just a whole family. They were kind of going to have some drama where they weren't going to all get to go. They all somehow kind of got in there.
Yeah.
Of course, politics plays into it all. But yeah, they go into the past and there's
Dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. They're trying to find ways to fix the future, but also trying to find ways to restart from the past. And it was a good show.
Yeah.
The new show that's coming on NBC right now,
La Brea.
La Brea. I think
Kinda
that's like a
taps into
really
that a bit.
bad version of what they tried to do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, it starts from modern day going back, like essentially falling in.
Thanks, Walt.
Walt agrees
Appreciate
with
you
you
being
on
on my
Terra
side.
Nova. I never actually watched it. It was one of those ones that for whatever reason I just didn't catch it because it was kind of in my pre-DVR days.
Yeah, and it was like because freaking watching Avatar, and then Stephen Lang was in that, and it kind of brought him over. He was kind of the actor that was kind of helping lead the charge for that. Yeah. And so, like I said, I definitely was watching.
Do you know what movie Stephen Lang's in that most people don't realize Stephen Lang's in?
Well, which one?
Tombstone.
Yeah. Yep. He is Larry?
No.
Can't remember. What is his name? He's one of the Cowboys.
Yeah, he's Ike Clanton.
Ike Clanton. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know why I said Larry. I don't know why it came to my head, but it said Larry.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think about that every time I watch him. I was like, wow, there's Stephen Lang. I love Tombstone. I watch that a few times a year.
That's one of the most quotable movies in the history of ever. All right, my number 2, which now that I thought about it harder,
I don't know
this probably should have been my 3, and Battletech would get bumped off. Was another cartoon from my childhood, and most people haven't heard about this. I had to explain it.
I tried to put Captain Power, and it autocorrected to Captain Poser.
Captain Poser. It was Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. Okay, so.
Okay, wow. So it's literally RoboCop. That's totally what I'm seeing when I'm looking at this.
So it's post-apocalyptic future.
It's RoboCop.
Basically.
When the heck? 1987. Yeah, I was a year old. Hey, he wasn't alive.
I was 6. So what it was post-apocalyptic. Basically, humans are, resisting like mutant hybrid cyborg like rule.
Mm-hmm. This was live action.
It was a live action show.
Yeah.
Live action kid show with some CG elements. So the shtick of this was, though, there was a toy line that came with it, which every cartoon had a toy line.
Yeah, that was already made cartoons.
Hold on, though. New element, the toys interacted with the TV show.
Oh.
Uh-huh. So what you had is their X-95 fighter, and it was like a fighter jet that the figure would go in the cockpit, right?
This sounds like the beginning of a horror movie.
You'd lock him into the cockpit.
I feel like I've seen a horror movie
the
like this.
base of the fighter had a little pistol grip and a trigger, and you put batteries on it, and on the thrusters.
Captain Barra, I don't trust your judgment.
Captain Power was awesome.
For Ace and Tella, I don't trust your judgment.
It had 2 sensors on it. It had 1 sensor. It had a little light sensor on it, and the show, when you'd watch it, now I don't know that they could do this anymore because they'd have to throw epilepsy warnings everywhere. But what you would do,
sure they would do it.
Is it was like a little light gun. You turn it on and you'd fire, and if you hit the target, it would bounce back to the sensor. If you fired when one color would flash, and the light would bounce back to the sensor, the IR would bounce back, and you'd score a hit. But if they fired, it was a different color, it would hit the sensor differently, and after you took so many hits, it would eject the pilot.
It's pretty intense.
I never got it to work right. It was always like
after one season of every kid crying that they could never win.
So like
it went downhill from there.
Like I would turn it like if there was a lamp on and I turned it wrong, because like you'd be doing this the whole time, right?
Oh yeah.
You'd be turning it and pivoting or whatever so you didn't get hit and shoot when you needed to, right? There was no accuracy needed. It was all just the light it was seeing. The lamp would set it off.
Yeah.
It would just randomly just hit.
Just guys just jumping out of there.
Because it was like old laser tag sets, right? Old laser tag sets sucked as far as the sensors and stuff. Same technology, but it was interactive. I don't remember jack about the stories.
You just cared
hardly
about
at all. I do remember this one kid, they found this like teenager and he had been tortured by the regime or whatever. I remember it being very dark for a kids television show. Yeah. I don't know that it was aimed for kids as young as I was, 5 or whatever. Maybe it was really targeted for older kids, and they could possibly understand how the crap the game was working.
Yeah.
I still think the technology was just still so new.
Yeah, but still nothing like it.
Yeah, you've never had a television show where you interacted with it like that.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. So it was near. There were like little kind of Nerf guns, only they fired plastic darts.
I wonder if there was all these kids that they just couldn't get the toys, so they didn't like it because of that.
Yeah.
I can't be a part of it, so I'm not watching this show.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah. The hope would be that you produced a show that was just engaging enough on its own, and then you just ignored the flashy stuff. I don't know how you would, because you're too busy having a seizure. That's how you ignore it. Silverhawks. Yeah, was Silverhawks one season? Maybe.
That was a big one for Darren.
That was around the same time. Silverhawks would have been around the same time.
We're gonna look it up.
Centurions would have been probably around that same time.
I know Darren's always sad about Silverhawks.
Yeah.
It was only one season. 1986.
I tried not to get too much into the 80s cartoons because there were a lot like that. There were a lot that were just one season. Boom, let's get our toy line out, sell our toys.
I mean, what's crazy is the Silverhawks stuff still had. I mean, I had a toy, a lunchbox for Silverhawks that was brand new, like mid '90s.
Yeah.
So I mean, it still had fan following and stuff like
value.
that. You know.
Yeah. He-Man made it multiple seasons. Transformers did.
What about D&D? Was that one?
D&D was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one,
I didn't care for it growing up though. So it didn't make my list. So what my actual number 2 should have been is the Cowboy Bebop. Like the animated series. The animated series. It was still one. But again, it was made to be one.
Now this says that Silverhawks had 65 episodes for one season.
That's not uncommon for a 30-minute weekly. It was a daily.
They used to do them like that. Yeah.
So you do 5 episodes a week.
Yeah, I forgot about that kind of stuff.
So divide that by 5, and you're at 12-ish weeks.
That's a lot of animators.
Brave Star. I loved Brave Star. We could go on and on about.
They tell us old, y'all. That's what he's trying to tell us.
If he was a freshman in '98, he's only 3 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
So he's in his late 30s. So yeah, that tracks. But
he's old. Brandon said.
No, that was just the '80s.
We still love you. It's okay.
It was literally make a toy line. Here's basically the animated
and that
series.
was the biggest thing for it. I mean, I think it was the toy lines. I mean, everybody was like, even it is. Who cares if it lasts one season? We'll be able to sell these toys for years.
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't have to have strong storylines.
Yeah. It was just getting it out there.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
Same age. You're 41.
Yeah. I believe him. The math doesn't check out to me, but I believe him.
Grew up in the 80s, says Walt.
Yep. So I
was born in the 80s.
So yeah, I won't linger on Cowboy Bebop, but it deserves a mention because it was and I recommend anybody go back, even if you don't like anime, go back and watch the Cowboy Bebop animated series. It's totally worth it. It's good. Okay, so Tanner's number 1 was the Constantine television show.
Yes, the 2014,
the blonde-haired,
the
proper
NBC
Constantine
series. Yeah,
and he's never had a season 2, but he's still been in a lot of stuff.
He's cameoed in all of the others like CW shows.
Yep. I mean, his first CW cameo was in Arrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Has he cameoed since the television show? Since his show.
Yes.
Yes.
See,
all
that's
his
what
cameos
happened.
have been that
his
way.
show got his show was NBC and it got canceled.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then CW picked up the character but not the show.
Okay.
Yeah. So and his was going on the same time as the second season of Supergirl on CBS.
It was the same year as I don't remember.
Was Supergirl on Supergirl was on CBS, wasn't it?
And then it got pulled over.
It was the same year that Gotham started. Also,
Supergirl maybe only had one season on CBS, and then came to
the CW.
Came to CW. And what I never
I think that was
about,
what happened with Supergirl.
I never
also.
understood about that is like, why did they feel like they couldn't have just included her in the world? They still made her a whole nother universe.
Huh.
So anytime the Flash wanted to go see her, he had to go through and use the Speed Force to get to her universe. And that's how they did their crossovers.
Yeah. Because the
Why-
Flash.
I mean, nobody would have cared if she just all of a sudden was in the Arrowverse. Nobody would have cared.
Yeah.
I mean, just
It wouldn't have broken. It
was fine.
It wouldn't have broken anything.
No, not at all. So it would just been, hey, there's a super person now.
So I will be honest. I've never actually watched anything. Now I know of Constantine and what it's generally about, but I've never read a Hellblazer comic. I've never.
You didn't watch the.
I didn't watch the Keanu movie.
The Keanu movie's good. They're talking about making a sequel to that.
I never was too into the Keanu movie. I mean, I've watched it, but I never really read Justice League Dark, any of that stuff either. But I liked this show because it was along the same lines as like Supernatural. It was the monster of the week, Supernatural X-Files kind of show, and it was really good, and it still had the that was still when I was before I had my hiatus from comics.
Yeah,
and at that point, like DC was my thing.
Yeah,
and so it was cool getting.
And then you grew up. Yeah.
it's not that I grew up; it's that they got worse. But yeah, it was cool to see that Monster of the Week show with the DC cameos because like you could Dr. Fate's helmet was in his lair. Yeah, you know, just stuff like that.
I never got to watch any of the show. Again, I just don't ever get to watch things when they air.
And it is one that totally left on a huge cliffhanger, and then they just axed it.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I saw on your list that was kind of maybe a mention for season 1 was Swamp Thing. But even then, I was like, I mean, and it still may come back once they figure out financial stuff, so it may not actually be done.
I remember there were Swamp Thing movies back in the 80s.
Yeah. It had a TV show as well.
Did it have, maybe, okay, yeah, it was a TV show in the 80s.
Yeah, because it was kind of like right off, because I think they had Swamp Thing, and then I think they also had I think they tried a Man Thing as well.
Maybe.
And then, of course, Hulk and all that kind of stuff. But they felt like those were easier to kind of do than some of the other heroes.
Did you hear they're looking at Guillermo del Toro for a MCU movie, and so they're thinking Man Thing.
That'd be
he would
pretty good.
Cool. He would fit.
Yeah.
I mean, he does monsters really good.
Yeah.
So Man Thing could possibly. Okay, that checks my math a little bit, Acentella. Okay.
2 Swamp Thing
I
movies.
get it now.
Maybe it was just movies, but I thought it was TV shows as well.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
I thought they were movies, and they were always on USA late at night.
Yeah, I remember watching it. So maybe, and I only remember watching parts of it. So maybe I just thought it was
back before television ratings, when technically everything on USA after like 9 p.m. was, I guess, what you would consider TV 14.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a TV series in the 90s.
In the 90s, okay.
It went from July 27, 1990 to May 1st, 1993.
So before we get to mine and Chris's number one, there were quite a few mentioned in the chat. Centella actually mentioned one that I had totally forgotten about, and it was actually one of my first exposures to Bruce Campbell, because I hadn't watched Evil Dead yet. It was The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. So it was made by, I want to say, was it the same production house that did Hercules and Xena? It was kind of distributed the same way with them.
Yeah.
They did this action pack thing with Hercules and Xena, and it was part of it. But it was like a out of this world Western series that had him in it. That was Bruce Campbell. Really good. Definitely should have probably lasted longer. But yeah, that was good. Brave Star was mentioned. Silverhawks. Yeah, a lot of the stuff. What all did Walt mention? He mentioned a couple.
Silverhawks.
Hold on.
I think he had a couple of cartoons in there.
Oh, he talked about the original Battlestar Galactica too.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned what we were about to mention, Firefly, which is like the one most people know. Like when I inspired this topic, that's the one that comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
And now there is a little asterisk by it.
Correct, because it does have a movie.
It did get a movie afterwards. It wasn't a television series, but it did get closure.
And Disney Plus is supposedly doing something new with it.
Yeah.
But we don't know officially yet.
I think if they're gonna do it,
I don't think it'll be a re.
I don't think it'll be a continuation or a reboot. What it needs to be, maybe a time jumped later version, right?
See, I'd heard it was going to be a new characters, same universe,
and that'd be fine too. I think that would work
just
too.
A different part of the
and
story.
Maybe try to get the original cast of cameos, older versions of themselves, very much like sequel trilogy of Star Wars or something, right? Because you're not going to peg Nathan Fillion down, probably. Maybe, I don't know. He's still on rookie.
He tried to buy the rights to it forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's still on the rookie right now. But I mean,
it's just going to be hard to get the whole cast back. What's left?
Why am I blanking on his name right now? He's in every Disney movie ever right now. Walsh.
Oh, Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, Alan Tudyk. Those guys. I mean, I don't know.
But his character's dead anyway.
I don't know if you ever saw Con Man, the little show that he made. Oh, guys, it's hilarious. If you haven't seen Con Man, go watch it.
He's from El Paso, by the way.
Yeah, it's they talk about it all. That's like their main topic of the whole show. It's like how Nathan Fillion went on to be this bigger, got the cool shows, and then Alan's just kind of doing side gigs here and there and doing the voiceovers.
He does a lot of stuff though.
He's the one that was one of the squires in A Knight's Tale, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He was Wart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever seen him. So like when he was in Firefly, I'm like, it's Wart.
Yeah, yeah. I liked that show a lot. We watched it all the time. In
Yeah.
fact, instead of saying "duh" in my family, we go, "It's a Lance." Like that's how we say "duh" to each other.
Or if Fong becomes your edited F word,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna Fong you. Dude, Crystal and I were dating when that movie came out. That was
Yeah.
one of our earlier dates. wasn't our first couple, but I do remember going to see Knight's Tale and
Yeah.
thinking that movie was awesome because there was like classic rock songs in
Yeah.
the middle of a medieval movie.
It's a really cool smash up for
Yeah.
sure in that way.
So yeah, not a lot to say about it. Most people know Firefly, why it's great.
Yeah.
It was a cool universe, had a great cast.
Yeah.
And unlike a lot of these series that only had the one, it got a movie. It's like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Like
And-
you never get closure to these canceled shows.
And I still feel like even the movie really didn't truthfully give it closure.
I think
it was
it
just
gave-
like more of like, okay, we'll let you have something else.
Yeah, I think it gave it enough. There was a lot of kind of, you could tell there was a time gap between the last episode and Serenity.
Yeah.
Because Book goes off and does his thing. And,
Yeah.
And who else isn't with the crew? Oh, Inara.
Yeah.
Isn't with the crew at the initial part. Yeah, it would just, like I said, if they do bring it back, I think they need to be smart about it. I think you either
But I don't know if they're going to have just a hooker on the ship all the time.
yeah.
And put it on Hulu instead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they may. But, I mean, at first when I saw the little Moon Knight teaser trailer, I saw it on Hulu's thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, ooh, they're going to push this to Hulu. They're not going to let it come on Disney Plus. But then when the full trailer came out, it
Yeah.
had the Disney Plus on there.
I
so,
think,
the rest of the world has all of it
together.
They have it all together. I mean, the U.S. is like the only country that is like,
Yeah.
we still got to be careful.
And it's just the Disney brand, right? There's just something sacrosanct about that Disney brand that to us
You don't
growing up with
you don't
it.
put that on there.
Yeah.
Well, you think of Disney as a kids production.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my boys have been watching all the X-Men movies, and it's so funny. They got the X-Men Last Stand. Like, yeah, it's taking us a while to watch this one. It's like, well, when
Smart
you're done with
kids.
it, don't forget, just forget about it.
Yeah.
So then
I
they're
would've
like, can we watch the Wolverine ones? I was like, I don't know if you want to, but you can, because some of it you kind of need to know for it to make sense.
Like I'm a completionist by nature, and my OCD normally doesn't allow me just to skip stuff.
yeah.
I'm skipping Last Stand.
Yeah, so they
Like-
watched Origins, and they're like, Deadpool was in there. I was like, he wasn't. But I said, but when you're older, I'll let you watch the other ones, and we'll figure that out. Yeah, but then they were like, the Wolverine wasn't on Disney Plus yet, which is the second one.
Oh yeah.
So I guess maybe there's a little something in there that
know
they
what?
didn't want to show.
That one got more hate than I thought it needed to.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. So it was better than Origins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Not as good as Logan though. I still love Logan. I think that was a great movie.
So if this is the ones that Brandon wouldn't let me say, if we had gotten to season 2, now there could be like a million Netflix shows that you could
I was
also.
about to say.
It's like Altered Carbon was great.
Yeah.
And it got canned after
Punisher.
TC. Punisher, and Punisher may get continuations, right? But like for me, it was Stargate Universe, and then Star Trek Enterprise. Both 2 seasons.
Yeah. Enterprise. I forgot about that.
Both were great, and like Universe didn't actually get an ending; it was just over.
Yeah.
Star Trek
think-
Universe, they were like, okay, we know it's going to end, and all of a sudden it caught you up to the timeline in like the last
Yeah.
episode.
Enterprise had the unfortunate of being on the downside of Star Trek's popularity.
Yeah,
Like it just like after DS9 ended, like it just because DS9 and Voyager
they were
they were
kind of
concurrent for a little bit, and then after DS9 ended, it's just like
and I think
it just curved down.
and it came on like a really late time.
Well, and part of it was that they had launched UPN,
Yeah.
which is hilarious because UPN became honestly, it's my TV or whatever now.
Yeah.
It died, but guess what we have now? We have Paramount Network.
Yeah,
Like it like came back as a different network.
all the Star Trek stuff on Paramount Plus, Paramount Network is doing tremendous. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they just
Yeah.
renewed season 5 of Discovery. Picard season 2 is
Picard's-
about to come.
yeah.
But all they have 2,
Lower Decks,
3 animated shows.
Prodigy, Lower Decks, Prodigy, and
Now. I think maybe there's only 2, but I thought
Yeah.
there was a third one. And then the new Captain Pike show,
Yeah.
which is going to start in April or May this year.
yeah.
So it's just kind of crazy. I mean, if it had at that time, then that universe would have probably kept going. So
Yeah. Farscape had.
that was at least a couple, right?
Yeah, there was a couple of Farscape.
Let's Google.
Sci-Fi did have a lot of one-season shows. There was one.
I remember watching Farscape.
Oh my gosh.
Farscape.
There was a one. Was it a one-season series? It was on Sci-Fi, if I remember right, and it had the chick from Stargate, the original Stargate television show, and like they were an agency that like hunted down like supernatural creatures or something.
Farscape went from 99 to 2003.
No, TNN turned into Spike. So TNN was the Nashville network. Then it was the Nations network, but it still kept TNN. Then it became Spike.
Spike's not around anymore either.
Now Spike is the Paramount network.
Yeah.
So no, UPN turned into MyTV because UPN was not a cable network. UPN was just a licensed broadcast over the air broadcast.
But Farscape
affiliate.
did continue because half the cast became part of Stargate, so it's fine.
Oh. Let's see. So Jason Momoa, he was on Atlantis, right?
Yeah, he was on Atlantis.
Yeah.
Which he kind of started with the normal Stargate. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the same people kind of carried over.
Because what's his bucket was the leader of Universe, was the dude from Once Upon a Time, Rumpelstiltskin, the actor.
Oh.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and he's like he's like the one actor. Every time I see that guy in something, he's like a terrible William Dafoe to me. I don't know what it is.
I just
but I know what
Great
you're
value,
talking
William
about.
Dafoe.
I love the movie Trainspotting, and
He's in that.
He's Big B in that.
But he's supposed to be annoying in everything he is in. So
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of the point. So
anyway, that was our top three. That was a fun list to get through.
yeah.
Y'all hate me for making rules, but it makes a fun game.
I just
we're
didn't
doing more
understand your rules.
We're doing more three, and I'll try to be more clear with the rules. I don't think it was that complicated.
Well, it wasn't that it wasn't complicated. It's just that, like, again, I was like, what have I seen that has only had one season?
Expect more top threes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily TV shows, but expect more top threes. So, what's in your top three? If you haven't already been a part of our live chat, if you're watching us on YouTube, definitely put it in the comments and let us know and keep the discussion going. On that note, we've been going for a while. Our butts hurt because these chairs hurt.
Yeah, this is the longest show we've had in a long time.
You know, I think we've made enough live sale money here recently to buy some new chairs.
We'll see.
Anywho, we hope everybody has a great week.
Send me an Amazon link.
Be sure. Agent Carter had two seasons.
Yep.
Agent Carter had two. Definitely one I'd like to see keep going though. It was good. I wanted to. Okay. See, you derailed me. Here's what I wanted to see with Agent Carter. I wanted to see the creation of Shield.
And I almost got
we almost got it.
Almost got there.
But we haven't got we need one more season of Agent Carter to see how did this happen.
And I think maybe you could do that in a movie still with
Maybe
you take Steve Rogers back to the back. You know what I mean?
maybe
Is Agent Carter still canon? Or did they nick?
any of the Marvel television stuff.
I think because that was Netflix, right? They did that.
It was ABC.
No, it was ABC.
Marvel Television was.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Marvel Television was Marvel Television was Netflix and ABC stuff.
Yeah.
So Inhumans,
Yeah.
Shield, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Runaways,
Runaways was Hulu.
but it was still part of Marvel.
And
it was still under
for the ABC. What was it? What is it? Free form.
Yeah. Cloak and Dagger.
I don't
that
know.
that was all under the Marvel Television banner
Correct.
with Jeff Loeb.
But I don't think it had anything to do with the MCU.
It could they would pluck from it,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't necessarily reciprocate. Like the
Yeah.
MCU wouldn't bring it in.
All right, Cloak and Dagger, they were just like completely done with
But
that.
but
They're
now
like, yeah, it's
Feige
whatever,
now
it's another
Feige's just
story.
kind of picking what he wants back in, which is I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
Anywho, so be sure to catch our other Twitch shows. We've got a live sales on Friday. We've got live sales on Monday. We've got comic chat we've got hobby hangout on Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon. Comic chat on Wednesday afternoon. We have our live podcast on Thursdays. We've got content on Twitch all week long.
Yep.
Also, join us on our Discord. You've probably seen the link going in. We do have a community Discord, so if you haven't joined everybody, we're trying to build a community there. We're trying to keep our conversations going there. We have just chat rooms for any type of discussion, geeky.
The
that you
nerdism is there.
That you could possibly want. So join us on our Discord. I can't say the link because it's just a jumble of crap. But it's in the Twitch chat.
There's a link.
Yeah, just hit us up on Facebook. We can get it to you. And of course, join us on Whatnot. That's kind of our news platform. That's our main live sale platform, and we're having a lot of fun on that channel. Chris is.
Yep.
Chris is pretty much living on that channel.
Yeah.
Doing stuff, but we're going to be doing a lot more things there. We're everywhere. You need to find us. We do a lot of cool stuff. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week.